So we're going to take a look to see how yeast reacts with orange juice, and we're just going to look at what will happen here if we add 2 tablespoons of yeast to this bottle of orange juice right here, and we'll go ahead, mix it in, take a little bit more. Shake it. And now let's go ahead and close this bottle right here. So we're going to take a look to see how yeast reacts with orange juice, and we're just going to look at what will happen here if we add 2 tablespoons of yeast to this bottle of orange juice right here, and we'll go ahead, mix it in, take a little bit more. Shake it. And now let's go ahead and close this bottle right here. So closed. Just gonna go ahead and shake this a little bit. Dissolve it in. And gonna go ahead and mix just a little bit more yeast in to fill it up to the brim. So let's go ahead, add a little bit more yeast in. Okay, so right now we've added roughly 2.5 tablespoons of yeast in this thing. Once ahead, let's go ahead and close this. Now, let's go and let's give it a good shake. The bottle's completely tightened. We'll see what happens. So, it's gone ahead. We've dissolved this in. Let's see what happens. The point is that yeast causes fermentation to happen inside the orange juice, which causes a buildup of CO2. That is the only thing that could possibly make this react enough to result in an explosion. Let's go ahead and see if our hypothesis is true. It'll be an interesting experiment just to see what happens. Can you make ordinary fruit juices explode through things like adding yeast into them? Really, what makes these things react? So for any middle schoolers interested in chemistry or whatever, maybe this will be an interesting experiment to see. This thing's coming along. You can clearly see that it's starting to bulge a little bit on the sides, which means there's a lot of CO2 building up. You can see that at the top right there. It's been about an hour since we left this bottle here. It's August 22nd at 2 p.m. right now. We're just gonna see how long this can last before actually blowing up, if it does. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it's 3:02 p.m. on August 22nd, 2019. It's about an hour and a half since we left this thing out after filling it with 2.5 tablespoons of yeast and fresh orange juice and shaking up the mixture and leaving it out here. You see that the foam is still oozing out right here. This indicates that there was some fermentation that happened inside, and as a result, CO2 got produced inside the bottle. The resultant pressure on the insides of the bottle caused it to explode and caused the orange juice to spill all over. You can see the drip pattern right here. It's a lot of a splash in the center, and then the bottle is obviously spilling out, and then there's some drips on this side, which is the side of which I guess the explosion really went. So it's interesting to see how this explosion happened. Essentially, take yeast, put it in orange juice, mix it up, shake it, leave it closed, completely sealed. The orange juice is going to ferment thanks to the yeast, and it'll result in a lot of CO2 building up, which will essentially cause the explosion to happen.